Hiya! Welcome! Records Roundup number 16. Wow, they just keep flying by these, don't they? I've got lots to show you today. I've got 6 records to show you. 5 albums, 1 single, a couple of mail openings to do at the end amongst those as well. And I was hoping it was going to be even more than that actually, because I've still got other stuff that's on the way. I've got a couple of albums that should have been delivered over the weekend, and because they were sent via Every, aka Hermes, they made balls up of it, so I'm hoping they're going to be coming as their new releases as well. There'll be Records Roundup 17 sooner rather than later. Before I get going showing you all the records today, I just want to say thank you, a massive thank you to everybody who's entered the JB2K Vinyl Community Contest so far. Really appreciate it. It's only been running, as of this video going out, a little over a week probably. Everyone who's entered at the time of me recording this, and obviously anyone who may have entered after I've recorded this, thank you so much. And it's running till the 2nd of February, the contest. 2 prizes, as you know. First prize £50, second prize £25. So please get involved. You've got quite a few weeks to go before it closes on February the 2nd. Enough of the hype and the self-promotion. Let's look at some records that I'm adding to my collection today. And we can start with a new release single on 10-inch vinyl, no less. It's the new single from Rammstein, their 5th one taken from their 2022 album Zeit. This is Adieu, which of course is French for like goodbye or farewell. So this was the last track on Zeit, and one of my favourites on that album actually, so I'm glad this came out as a single. I still can't believe how many singles have come off that album, to be honest. It's the first time Rammstein have released 5 tracks as singles from one album since Mutter back in 2001-2002. And even then I think the final single from Mutter, Feuerfrei, that really only got a single release. Probably more to do with the fact it was included on the film Triple X, I think it was, the Vin Diesel thing. Otherwise, I'm not sure they would have necessarily bothered releasing that as a single. But yeah, 5 singles off Rammstein's Zeit, and all of them released on some sort of vinyl format. These have also all come out on CD as well. It's 10-inch, as you can see. I think it plays at 45 RPM. Side A is Adieu, which may be an edit from the album version, but I'm not sure. And then on side B we've got 2 remixes of it, one by Richard Z. Krusper, the guitarist from Rammstein, and another from what looks like an Italian guy who I'm not really familiar with, Andrea Marino remix. Really happy to have that. I can't imagine there'll be more singles coming off the album, but I don't know. It could be. It'd be unprecedented if there was a 6th, but for now, the probably last single from Zeit, Adieu.
Doch keine Angst, wir sind bei dir. Ein letztes Mal, so singen wir. Adieu, goodbye, auf Wiedersehen. Den letzten Weg musst du alleine gehen. Ein letztes Lied, ein letzter Kuss, kein Wunder würde geschehen. Adieu, goodbye, auf Wiedersehen. Die Zeit mit dir war schön.
Moving on to a couple more pickups from The Sound of Vinyl. This was on the last day of their Black Friday 20% off sale, and I thought, yeah, there is still stuff that I've seen that I'd kind of like. I thought I'd treat myself. And the first one is another Pink Floyd album for the collection, and it's their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Now, I do apologise, there might be some incorrect dates on the screen to the right of me there. I thought this was going to be the 2022 or 2021, the most recent reissue of this, by the way. But apparently this is actually the 2016 remaster and reissue. I don't think there's any difference. I think both editions have used the same remaster by, let me just read it, James Guthrie, Joel Plant and Bernie Grundman. But the more recent reissue, which you'll see on screen to my right, has a different hype sticker and a different catalogue number, but it's the same album, and as far as I know, it's the same remix, remaster as well. So their debut album, the only one that has sort of full input from Syd Barrett, the original Pink Floyd lead singer. I don't know if I'm ever going to get a full collection of Pink Floyd albums. They'd be an easy band for me to collect, as everything they've done has been released and re-released on vinyl many times over. I don't know, I just like the idea of picking a Pink Floyd album up occasionally, and I do like sort of late 60s psychedelic rock, and this was obviously a proper psych album before they went like really proggy in the 1970s. Just thought this would be a nice addition to the Floyd collection for me, really. With 20% off, this was what, probably around £15-ish. Really happy to have that. Piper at the Gates of Dawn, debut album from the Pink Floyd, as they were called for a while. Although I'm surprised it doesn't say The Pink Floyd on the cover. I don't know if that's a facsimile of the original cover, or whether this is sort of cover that came out like once they dropped the from the Pink Floyd name. Anyway, never mind. Can't wait to hear that.
I've got a bike, you can ride it if you like. It's got a basket, a bell and rings and things to make it look good. I'd give it to you if I could, but I borrowed it. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you anything, everything if you want things. I've got a cloak, it's a bit of a joke. There's a tear up the front, it's red and black, I've had it for months. If you think it could look good, then I guess it should. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you anything, everything if you want things.
And another pickup from the Sound of Vinyl, along with Pink Floyd, was part of my New Order Doubling Up collection, except technically this isn't New Order. Nonetheless, it still qualifies as far as I'm concerned, because it's Substance by Joy Division. Another one on black vinyl, as was Pink Floyd and Rammstein as well, actually. This was the first proper kind of singles compilation from Joy Division. This came out about a year or so after New Order's Substance 1987 singles compilation, a legendary one that I've got in a couple of different formats. I've got this on CD, as you would expect with me doubling up. This vinyl version does include a couple of additional tracks, but there'll be tracks that I've got on other CDs and stuff anyway, as you said, and the Pennine version of Love Will Tear Us Apart. Yeah, not an awful lot to say about it. I'm not as big a Joy Division fan as I am New Order, but because I consider them more or less the same band, or at least, you know, the lineage has a strong connection, I thought, yeah, I wasn't sort of mad keen to double up all the Joy Division albums on CD that I've got, although I have done that in the not too distant past with the special editions for Unknown Pleasures, Closer and Still. Delighted that I've got that. Substance from Joy Division.
Feel it closing in, feel it closing in. Feel it through like gold, feel it so cold. Feel it closing in, feel it closing in. Day in, day out, 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 day in, day out.
Stick with New Order and we go to what I think, although I could be wrong actually, because there is something else that's expensive coming along, but I think the priciest pickup of the day from Discogs Marketplace. It is brand new and sealed though. All together it cost me £48.50. That does include some postage. I did miss out on an auction for a pre-owned, a second-hand copy of this on eBay, and I was kicking myself, and I just thought, well, I wonder if there's anywhere on Discogs I can make an offer for it. I do have the album on compact disc, as you would expect. It is Waiting for the Siren's Call by New Order from 2005. It's still got its original hype on. It's It's also got a little star there. Bit of a bland sleeve there from Peter Saville, but it's the music that counts. I do really like this album. I was expecting, what with it being the sort of contentious era of New Order, where it was a few years after Gillian Gilbert had officially left. Although she wasn't involved in any of the promotion for Get Ready, she did play on that album. She'd basically left before that album had come out in 2001. And then she was replaced at first for just live stuff by Phil Cunningham, and Peter Hook and Bernard Sumner were just not getting on at all during this album. I think this is a really good album. It's one that's grown on me a lot over the years. There's some just really strong and really catchy songs on here. The lead single off here is brilliant, Crafty. It does have one of the rare New Order songs that I dislike on here though, Jetstream, which features Animatronic from Scissor Sisters. I used to hate that. I don't hate it anymore. It's kind of grown on me enough where I just kind of merely tolerate it. So, you know, that's progress, I suppose. It is what it is, but there's some other great stuff on here. The title track, Waiting for the Siren's Call, excellent. That was a single as well. Guilt is a Useless Emotion, brilliant. Turn, fantastic. So happy to have that. For some reason, although this came out in 2015, around the time a lot of New Order stuff was being re-released on vinyl, and I've shown you some of those albums in the last couple of videos or so. For some reason this one seems to be quite rare and goes for more money, so I think I did overpay for it really, but I didn't, because the other sellers, and a lot of them are international as well, so that's extra postage, customs, etc. I just don't know why this one, although I think it is a 2-disc set this, whereas the other reissues for New Order I've got, it has just been squeezed all on the 1 LP. There we are, happy to have that. Waiting for the Siren's Call.
Listening to months and years, I can't forget that you were here. Your presence everywhere, in the corner over there. Turn your eyes from me. It's time for me to go home. Across the hills and over the sea. I want you more than you know.
Alright, we finish with a couple of mail openings, and we've got this one here. It's a little bit of a mystery to me. I am fairly certain I know what this is. Well, it could be one of two things, I think, actually. I'm waiting for so much stuff I've just been spending, like it's been going out of fashion lately, especially with Black Friday discounts and stuff like that. So I want to get this open and find out what this is. The last one to show you, I do know what that is. My yellow knife's knackered as well, so I've got to be really careful. In fact, do I even need this? It has got a pull-apart tab here, but it has also been taped up. Ah, yeah, it is what I thought it was. Okay, brilliant. So this is, if you'll just excuse me while I try and put this broken knife away safely. For those of you who've seen me use this knife for like 4 years now, I have ordered a new box cutter that'll hopefully have come by the next one of these videos that you see, as this isn't safe anymore because basically this bit's fallen off. I should probably chuck this out soon. I didn't really need it for that anyway. The album, enough of that knife crap, is Rhapsody in Glue by People Like Us and Ergo Phizmiz. Now this was quite expensive. I pre-ordered it from Vicky Bennett, aka People Like Us' Bandcamp page, a few months ago now. Very limited run of 100 copies. People Like Us, I have done videos about People Like Us before, so I do urge anyone who's completely unfamiliar to check those out down in the bowels of the music collecting playlist. But Vicky Bennett and Ergo Phizmiz, obviously as well, cut-up artists, they do a lot of collaborations together. I'm a massive People Like Us fan. I have been since the late 90s, early noughties, when I used to listen to her cut up and her sort of weird bastard pop, it used to be called. Rhapsody in Glue, this is apparently a lathe cut, clear vinyl record. It is individually numbered as well. My number is, if you can see that, number 29 out of only 100. And this was from a performance they did, like one of these weird AV audio-visual, almost like an art installation or art exhibit type performances that people like us and Ergo Physmis would have done back in 2008. Oh, so it's actually not really a proper album sleeve. Everything's just meant to be kept in this clear outer sleeve. So we've got a little bit of paper that's, I think, and without my glasses I'm going to struggle, but I think that's going to be a download code. I do own the album digitally anyway from just ordering it on Bandcamp, so if anyone wants to avail of that, you can do. And then that, you think it's a sleeve, but no, that's just the front of the album. I do like these Bandcamp, and particularly People Like Us. I've had some People Like Us records and CDs as well in some really unusual packaging. We've got a very nicely printed lyric sheet there. I think this is the first time I've ever seen lyrics included in a People Like Us album, and if you listen to People Like Us you'll know why that's a bit of a weird thing to do. We have got the record there, and we've got a backing there as well, so basically it's like everything you need for an album sleeve, but it's all separated. But I do want to show you the disc, obviously, as this is lathe cut, which means I need to take extra care of it. It's a nice heavy one, and there we go. That is certainly in the run out, completely transparent there. Great stuff. Nice custom centre labels as well on each side. People Like Us and Ergo Physmis Rhapsody in Glue from quite some years ago, 2008, but released on vinyl for the very first time in 2022. And finally, one more album to get opened as it came in the mail today. I do know what this is. It's from Rough Trade, and I ordered this. It was about mid-November, and although it said it was in stock, or maybe they had to order it and it was like one of those where it says we can get it in 5 to 10 days, it took longer than 10 days. It didn't matter. I wasn't in a rush for it. It was something I got on a whim, really. This was an impulse purchase, because I signed up for Rough Trade's newsletter just to get the 10% off discount that they were advertising if you signed up for their newsletter. I've been a Rough Trade customer for a few years now, but I've never bothered signing up for the newsletter. But when I realised I could get a discount, I thought yes. Oh, before I show you the record, got a couple of inserts and bits here. Yeah, we buy vinyl. I have actually sold some of my old and unwanted records to Rough Trade, and it's a good way of doing it, because as long as it's like a minimum of a certain amount, they'll send someone out to come and collect your stuff. I can recommend if you want to get rid of any records. I just got rid of some that I just needed to make some room, and it was mostly, almost exclusively, all the records that I had from my retro subscription, if you remember that, from throughout this year and most of last year. And there was a lot of stuff there that I would have never listened to again, didn't want, and I just sold it all to Rough Trade, and the price I got for all that and then a few other ones that I was comfortable enough parting with was pretty good. Anyway, oh, it's like a, I don't know if this is like a magazine or it's like a catalogue, really. Oh, I do like that. Never had one of these from Rough Trade before. It does look like it's got like an interview with someone in it, so it's a little bit like an old-fashioned fanzine, doesn't it? But the cross between a magazine and a customer catalogue there. I'll definitely have a read of that later, that's good. What I want to show you is the price on it. It says $27.99, it isn't, I can assure you of that. The price I paid, with 10% off, it went down to, I think it went down to something like £12 something, and then with a few quid in postage it was just under 15, which I think every day for a brand new album is really good. This is an album from Mercury Rev, The Light in You. And this is the black vinyl edition, which includes a download code. I do like Mercury Rev. I really loved their couple of singles that did pretty well in, I think it was the early 2000s or maybe the very late 90s. Opus 40 and Goddess on a Highway. And they kind of had a little bit of traction over here, but then, you know, they sort of disappeared out of the gaze of most people here. I saw this listed on Rough Trade. I was just looking at their sale items and then obviously getting the extra discount on them, just seeing if I could get something good for really cheap. And I noticed that this had a massive reduction. I thought, well, I don't want to go in completely blind, so I went and listened to one or two of the tracks from this album. Excellent. I'm so excited to own this. And if I enjoy it as much as I think I will, I'm kind of tempted to get more Mercury Rev, as there's a good selection at Rough Trade, and I get the feeling I could go elsewhere, you know, Discogs obviously, and then some of the other independent record stores that I use the websites for, and maybe fill some holes not too expensively. I'll decide on that when I've listened to the whole album. From Buffalo, New York, I think. Sort of like a psych indie, verging on dream pop a lot of the times. It's difficult to describe them. It's difficult for me anyway, because I'm not feeling very verbose today. But go and check out anything by Mercury Rev, really, and you'll get what I mean. Delighted that I got this so cheap, really, from Rough Trade. Mercury Rev, The Light in You.
And then, just for a moment, you're lost in the jukebox glow. Hypnotized, you make your selections. Psychedelic rock and blue-eyed soul. Blue-eyed soul. Blue-eyed soul. Blue-eyed soul. Blue-eyed soul.
And that's all of today's records. Wow, lots to listen to, obviously. I want to say thank you to everyone for watching this video, and special thanks go, as always, to my wonderful subscribers and my generous patrons. Please will you see my Patreon link, Facebook group link, a link for referral at HMV, one for Urban Jungle Contents Insurance, and much more importantly than all that, right at the very top of the description is the link to my contest announcement for hashtag JB2K. I'm gonna go now. Don't know what I'm gonna start listening to first. There's just so much here that I'm massively excited to hear. I tend to save my New Order and now Joy Division vinyl albums to sort of when I've listened to everything else, because I do already own them on CD, so I'm listening to something familiar there. But certainly we'll start with probably the Rammstein single, actually, because the single never takes very long to listen to, and I can settle in and listen to albums from the likes of Mercury Rev, Pink Floyd, and of course People Like Us. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next records roundup and record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!